my relationship with my boss, regardless of who my boss was, regardless if my boss was great or my boss was horrible, my relationship was always the same. I was going to build a relationship where they trusted me. They gave me what I needed to do my job, and then they let me do my job. That's the relationship I always had with all my bosses, right? But that same methodology and concept can absolutely be applied to other organizations that you're supposed to work with. So whether it's the Army, whether it's the Marine Corps, whether it's the Iraqi soldiers, whether it's the MPs, whether it's the Intel people, that the Intel organization that you're working with, no matter what the organization, you can build a relationship. Again, might you love that organization? No, you might not. And where I see this all the time, we see it all the time now, is with businesses. Because guess what? There's no business that's standalone. No, I should say there's very few that are completely vertically integrated businesses. I mean, like at Origin, right? We're pretty vertically integrated, but guess what? We don't grow the cotton. Like, we don't do that. We don't grow cotton. But guess what? We have a good relationship with the people that grow cotton. We have a good relationship with the people that dye the cotton. So we build those relationships with those other people. Now, I work with businesses where there's a supplier that they don't like. So guess what? They form a hostile relationship with this whole company, What good does that do them? It doesn't do them any good at all. What it means is they have no personal relationships. They form that antagonistic relationship with a whole nother organization, and it's almost impossible to overcome. So now this is something where if you don't explain that culture throughout your team, they're going to treat that other team horribly. And so if you're waiting on supplies, if you're on a construction site and you're waiting for materials to be delivered and you don't have a good relationship with the people that deliver the drywall, and now the drywall's running late for whatever reason, and you fly off the handle or whatever, you're not going to get that drywall any earlier. It's not happening. Have you ever, you know, when I call customer service, right? Customer service. I learned this when I was working for the Admiral, working for the Admiral's Aid. I'd call up, we traveled a lot, and I'd have to call up whatever, Delta or American or whoever, and I'd be trying to get whatever, seats on an aircraft or something, or a flight that was full, whatever, get him an upgrade, whatever. And, you know, I'd say, hey, how you doing? I'd always start off with the, because they're going, American Airline, how can I help you? And they're mad, right? They're just mad to start with.
How
like,
dare you
out
call
of the
me?
gate.
But you know, you do it for people that you love despite their inadequacies, and there is this idea that there is a spark of divinity within us, and it is possible that the fact that you have that spark of divinity within you also means that you have the capability to withstand that terrible vulnerability. That's what I was trying to get at in chapter 1, which was to stand up straight with your shoulders back, that you could actually voluntarily accept the onslaught of the tragedy of being, and that you can constrain the proclivity for malevolence that's part of you and that's part of the world. And in that you can discover your own value, your own intrinsic value, and your own nobility. And And all of that might be more powerful than the forces of vulnerability and malevolence themselves.
All of us here have great minds. Most of us here have great minds, right? I don't know if I'm in the category, but we all know how to think. And with our minds, we can rationalize anything. We can make anything happen. We can, I agree with what was described a few days ago about this idea that people work in their self-interest. But we all know that you don't work in your self-interest all the time. Because when emotion comes into it, the wiring changes in the way it functions. And so it's wonderful for us to think intellectually about how the life of the world is, and especially those who are very smart. We can play this game in our head, but I really want to know what's driving you. And what I'd like to maybe invite you to do by the end of this talk is explore where you are today for two reasons. One, so that you can contribute more. And two, so that hopefully we can not just understand other people more, but maybe appreciate them more and create the kinds of connections that can stop some of the challenges that we face in our society today. They're only going to get magnified by the very technology that's connecting us, because it's making us intersect. And that intersection doesn't always create the view of everybody now understands everybody and everybody appreciates everybody. So I've had an obsession basically for 30 years. And that obsession has been what makes the difference in the quality of people's lives? What makes a difference in their performance? Because that's what I got hired to do. I got to produce the result now. That's what I've done for 30 years. I get the phone call when the athlete is burning down on national television and they were ahead by 5 strokes and now they can't get back on the course. And I got to do something right now to get the result or nothing matters. I get the phone call when the child is going to commit suicide and I got to do something right now. And in 29 years, I'm very grateful to tell you I've never lost one in 29 years. It doesn't mean I won't someday, but I haven't done it. And the reason is an understanding of these human needs that I want to talk to you about. So when I get those calls about performance, that's one thing, like how do you make a change? But also I'm looking to see what is it that's shaping that person's ability to contribute, to do something beyond themselves. So maybe the real question is, I look at life and say there's 2 master lessons. One is there's the science of achievement, which almost everyone in this room has mastered to an amazing extent. That's how do you take the invisible and make it visible, right? How do you take what you dream about and make it happen? Whether it be your business, your contribution to society, money, whatever it is for you, your body, your family. But the other lesson of life that is rarely mastered is the art of fulfillment. Because science is easy, right? We know the rules, you write the code, you follow those, and you get the result. Once you know the game, you up the ante, don't you? But when it comes to fulfillment, that's an art. And the reason is it's about appreciation and it's about contribution. You can only feel so much by yourself. So I've had an interesting laboratory to try to answer the question of the real question, which is what's the difference in somebody's life if you look at somebody like those people that you've given everything to, like all the resources they say they need. You gave them not a $100 computer, you gave them the best computer. You gave them love, you gave them joy, you were there to comfort them. And those people very often, and you know some of them I'm sure, end up the rest of their life with all this love, education, money, and background, spending their life going in and out of rehab. And then you meet people that have been through ultimate pain, psychologically, sexually, spiritually, emotionally abused, and not always, but often they become some of the people that contribute the most to society. So the question we got to ask ourselves really is, what is it? What is it that shapes us? And we live in a therapy culture. Most of us don't do that, but the culture is a therapy culture. And what I mean by that is the mindset that we are our past. And everybody in this room, you wouldn't be in this room if you bought that theory, but most of society thinks biography is destiny. The past equals the future. And of course it does if you live there. But what people in this room know, and what we have to remind ourselves though, because you can know something intellectually, you can know what to do and then not use it, not apply it. So really what we got to remind ourselves is decision is the ultimate power. That's what it really is. Now, when you ask people, have you failed to achieve something? How many have ever failed to achieve something significant in your life? Say, I. But if you ask people, why didn't you achieve something? Somebody who's working for you, or a partner, or even yourself, and you failed to achieve a goal, what's the reason people say they failed to achieve? What do they tell you?